Chapter 7. Disrespect or disconnection. Sometimes, that attitude has nothing to do with you, and everything to do with what's going on inside them. Woo. Let's talk about the deep sigh, the eye roll, the smart mouth, the why are you even talking to me right now? Energy. You know the one. The I carried you for 9 months and you gone talk to me like that? Moment? Yeah, that one. It's easy to call it disrespect. And sometimes it is. But what I've learned, especially with my youngest kids, is that a lot of the time, it's disconnection. Disconnection from their emotions. Disconnection from how to express themselves. Disconnection from you. Not because you did something wrong, but because they don't even know how to let you in, what they show versus what they feel. Kids, especially teens, don't always show their true emotions. Sad can look like mad. Anxiety can look like laziness. Fear can sound like sarcasm. And pain? That one usually shows up with an attitude. The truth is, sometimes they're not trying to hurt your feelings. They're trying to hide theirs. And as their parent, it's hard not to take it personal when they shut you out, especially when all you want to do is help. I had to ask myself, am I disciplining the tone or digging into the why behind it? It's not about letting things slide. It's about not letting things get missed. I've started pausing before reacting, saying things like, that tone was a little off. What's really going on? I'm not gonna let you talk to me like that, but I do want to understand what you're feeling. I'm here if you want to talk, when you're ready. And sometimes, just that little opening, it leads to real conversations. Not right away, but eventually. Try this. Don't respond to tone with more tone. I know it's hard. Ask questions instead of jumping straight to correction. Let them know you're still a safe space even when they act like you're not. Parenting reminder. Kids don't always mean what they say, but they almost always feel what they can't say. Because here's the truth. Sometimes the most disrespectful kids are the ones who feel the least heard. And your calm, consistent presence, that might be the only thing keeping them grounded. Chapter 8. From discipline to dialogue. Because fear doesn't build trust. And silence doesn't build understanding. Let's be real. A lot of us were raised on because I said so. And honestly, it worked. We were scared to talk back. Scared to ask why, and we did what we were told. Most of the time. But now that I'm a parent, I don't want my kids to listen to me out of fear. I want them to trust me enough to hear me. And there's a big difference. Discipline isn't the enemy. Let's clear something up. I still believe in discipline. My kids have rules, expectations, and consequences. But what I've learned over time is that discipline without dialogue just teaches obedience, not understanding. And when a child doesn't understand why they're being corrected, they either shut down or rebel. Neither of those led to growth, correction, and conversation. Now, when something happens, I try to lead with, let's talk about what happened. Help me understand your side. Here's why that decision wasn't okay, and what we can do better. And yes, I still get attitude sometimes. But I also get understanding. I get accountability. I get a child who may still mess up, but who now knows better, and more importantly, knows I'm not against them. The long game. It takes longer to talk things through. It's easier to just punish and move on. But parenting is a long game. And the goal isn't just to raise kids who know how to act. It's to raise kids who understand why character matters, even when no one's watching. Try this. Instead of saying, you know better, ask, what do you think you could have done differently? After discipline, always check back in. A simple how are you feeling now goes a long way. Don't confuse silence with peace. Just because they're quiet doesn't mean they're good. Because here's the truth. Discipline without love creates fear. Love without structure creates chaos. But discipline with dialogue, that's where real growth lives. Chapter 9. Don't take it personal. Even when it feels personal. Because sometimes their mood ain't about you and sometimes yours ain't about them either. Let's talk about that moment when your child gives you that look. The one that says, I'm annoyed you even exist. You cooked, cleaned, showed up, prayed. And here they come with a funky attitude. Like you're the enemy. It stings. Because you give your whole self to this parenting thing. And still, there are days when you feel disrespected, dismissed, or straight up unappreciated. I've been there. More than once. But what I've learned, and am still learning, is this. My child's mood isn't always a reflection of my parenting. Sometimes, it's just a reflection of their own inner world. Hurt people snap too. Kids are just like adults. They get tired, stressed, overwhelmed, and don't always know how to process those emotions. The difference? We usually know better than to lash out at the people we love. They're still learning that part. So yeah, they might be rude, cold, distant. They might say things that sound disrespectful. And it feels personal, but often, it's not. It's pain. It's pressure. It's them struggling. And pushing away the person who feels safest to unload on you. And let's be honest. Sometimes we do the same thing. We take our bad day out on our kids. We respond harshly because we're tired, overwhelmed, or emotionally tapped out. So if we want grace for ourselves, we've got to offer it too. What I do now, I pause before I react. I ask myself, is this about me or is something deeper going on? I talk to them later, when the heat is gone, and say, hey, earlier didn't feel good. What was that really about? It's not about letting stuff slide. It's about not letting my ego lead the conversation. Parenting tip. Don't absorb everything. Don't take their bad day as proof you're a bad parent. And don't forget, they're still learning how to be people. Just like you're still learning how to be a parent. Because here's the truth. You're not always the problem. But you are the person they trust to handle their mess. Even when it's messy. Chapter 10. Pray, pause, proceed. Because sometimes the only thing between you and a full breakdown is a deep breath and a whispered prayer. Let me be real. There have been moments where I stood in the kitchen, leaned on the counter, and said out loud, Lord, if you don't help me right now, I might just lose it. Parenting will humble you. 1 minute you're proud of how calm and present you've been. The next minute, you're being tested like you're on an emotional game show with no lifelines. And in those moments, I had to learn a little rhythm that saved me more times than I can count. Pray, pause, proceed. Step 1. Pray. Not always out loud. Not always on your knees. Sometimes it's just a whisper in your spirit. God, give me patience. Help me understand them. Don't let me snap. Show me how to guide them, not just punish them. I don't just pray for my kids. I pray for me. Because I know I need grace, just as much as I'm trying to give it. Step 2. Pause. This part, hard, especially in the heat of the moment. But pausing gives you the chance to think before you speak. Breathe before you react, and choose presence over pressure. Even if it's just walking to another room, sitting in silence for 60 seconds, saying, "Let me take a second before I respond." That pause, it can save a relationship. Because once words are out, you can't take them back. Step 3. Proceed. After I pray and pause, I move forward but differently. I try to respond, not react. I ask more than accuse. I lead with love, even if correction has to follow. It doesn't always go perfectly, but it goes better than it would have if I just snapped. Real example. One of my kids caught an attitude over nothing. I felt myself boiling. But instead of clapping back, I said, "Let's both take a minute. I don't like how that felt, and I don't want to say something I'll regret." That one sentence changed the entire mood. Parenting challenge. Try the pray pause. Proceed method for 1 full day. Every time you feel tension rising, walk through it like a mental checklist. You'll be surprised how often your reaction softens just by giving yourself time. Because here's the truth. You're not a bad parent for needing a break. You're a wise one for knowing when to take it. Chapter 11. They're still becoming. And so are we. The parent-child journey is less about perfection and more about progress. We live in a world that wants kids to act grown before they've even figured out who they are. Act your age. Be more responsible. You should know better. But the truth is they're still becoming. Becoming emotionally aware. Becoming mentally strong. Becoming someone who understands themselves and the world around them. And that process, it's messy. But you know what I realized. So am I. I'm still becoming too. I'm becoming more patient, more self-aware, more intentional, more open to healing, more willing to admit when I didn't get it right the first time. Growth ain't linear, for them or for us. Just like our kids have good days and bad days, so do we. Some days I'm the calm, wise, emotionally intelligent mom. Other days, I'm giving full I said what I said energy with a side of slammed cabinet doors. That doesn't mean I failed. It means I'm human. It means I'm learning in real time, just like them. Grace is a two-way street. I've asked my kids to be patient with me, to understand that I didn't come into motherhood with a manual, that I've grown a lot since raising my oldest, and I'm still learning how to parent this new generation of kids' attitudes and mental health challenges. And in return, I try to give them grace too, because I know what it feels like to mess up and still want love. I know what it feels like to not have the words for what I'm feeling. And I know what it's like to want to be understood, even when I don't say it right. Try this. Remind your child, I'm still learning how to be your parent, just like you're learning how to be you. Keep a journal. Not just of what they do wrong, but what you've learned from them. Celebrate small wins. Growth doesn't always look like perfections. Sometimes it's just a better reaction than last time. Because here's the truth. You don't have to be a perfect parent to raise amazing kids. You just have to be a growing one. Honest, present, and willing to try again. Chapter 12. Dear parents, you're doing better than you think. This is your reminder to breathe, reflect, and give yourself some credit. If no one's told you lately, you're doing a good job. Not a perfect job. Not a look how calm and Pinterest worthy my parenting is kind of job. But a real one, a loving one. A consistent. Show up every day even when you're tired one. And that matters. You've survived moments you thought would break you. The tantrums. The backtalk. The silent treatments, the school calls, emotional breakdowns, and that one time you almost cried in the grocery store parking lot. Because what now? Lord. And guess what? You're still here. Still trying. Still adjusting. Still loving. Still learning. That's not failure. That's resilience. You're not alone. Every parent I know has felt the weight of wondering, am I messing them up? Why won't they listen? What happened to my sweet baby? Why does it feel like I'm failing, even though I'm giving my all? But you're not failing, you're feeling. And that means you care. That means you're showing up with your heart open, even when you're tired of repeating yourself. What I want you to know, you're not the only one parenting through uncertainty. You're not the only one who raised your oldest differently than your youngest. You're not the only one who's trying to do better than you were shown growing up. And you're definitely not the only one who loses it and then comes back later with an apology and a snack. You are the exact parent your child needs. Not because you get it all right, but because you're willing to keep showing up. If you needed a sign to keep going, this is it. Your love is felt. Your effort is not in vain. And even on the days when your kids act like they don't see it, they do. They will. And one day, they'll thank you for the kind of parent you were. The kind that didn't give up when it got hard. So from one tired growing, trying parent to another, you're doing better than you think. Now go drink some water. Take a breath, and maybe lock the bathroom door for 5 minutes apiece. You've earned it.